Hello again, friends. My name is Bill Camarada, and you're watching Bill's Box of Sound. This video is dealing with a small controversy about a very, very popular, historic album. We're talking about Miles Davis's Kind of Blue. Yes, the biggest selling jazz album of all time, apparently. And, well, yeah, it's a classic. It's wonderful. It's one of the albums that, if you want to get introduced into jazz, this is usually one of the first records people recommend. And rightly so. It's great. But over the years, there have been different versions that have come out. And recently, there has been an announcement of a new 2-record set version that covers all of the controversies that have happened with this speed problem. And no, we're not talking about drugs. We're talking about the speed at which the tape recorder ran on side 1 of this record. So side 1 of the record has 3 tracks on it. It's got So What, Freddie Freeloader, and Blue in Green. Now, the very first version that came out on CD was this version right here. It didn't even have the right cover on it. They changed the cover. Columbia Jazz Masterpieces series had this odd practice of redoing the covers and putting the big thing that says digitally remastered from the original master tapes on it. And they tried to filter out the hiss of the original master tape. And in doing so, on some of these releases, lopped off the very highest frequencies and kind of made a sonic difference in their records. And this first issue on CD was part of that Columbia Jazz Masterpieces series. Sorry about the glare. So that CD came out around 1986 or so with a whole bunch of other ones. And that was my first version of Kind of Blue that I ever had, personally. And then, in what year was it? Was it 1997? There was a Columbia Master Sound version that came out. It was in a big white long box, and it had a special CD jewel case inside that didn't have a booklet. And quoting from liner notes on the back of the Super Audio CD version of this album, it says this version was remixed on an all-tube 3-track machine, an old Presto, much like the one used for the original recording. And finally, if you happen to be a musician, you may have already noticed another problem when you tried to play along with earlier versions of Kind of Blue. 3 tunes on the first side were in the wrong key, which means that the original album and all subsequent reissues, except for the recent Gold Master Sound edition, which lacks the alternate flamenco sketches, were recorded at the wrong speed, making all the pitches slightly sharper than in real life. So, that Master Sound version on the Gold CD was the first version to correct the speed errors. For decades before, musicians were wondering, why did everybody tune their instruments just a little bit sharp? They didn't. It was the problem with the tape machine. So, on that Master Sound edition, it came out with the corrected speed. As with the Super Audio CD version, which I have, that also has the corrected speed. The Columbia Jazz Masterpiece version And all original versions of the album were at the wrong speed. This mono version, which came out for Record Store Day in 2013, does not specify whether or not it was corrected. And there's no timings on here, so I'd have to sit down and sync everything up. And now, the wonderful folks at Acoustic Sounds are releasing a special 2-record version of Kind of Blue with 1,500 numbered copies. Is going to have both the original version and the speed corrected version all in one package. Only costs $75 in the US. So the first side will have the corrected speed. Side 2 will have the same speed it's always had. Side 3 will be the original speed. And side 4 will be the alternate track that wasn't on the original album, Flamenco Sketches, a different take of it. Now, the differences in the speed do lead to different timing on these tracks. On the original, So What was 9 minutes and 2 seconds. When you correct the speed, it's 9 minutes and 22 seconds. Freddie Freeloader goes from 9 minutes 33 to 9 minutes 46. Blue and Green goes from 5 minutes 26 seconds to 5 minutes 37 seconds. So, it's a subtle difference. Some people can't hear the difference. For some people, it's very obvious. So here's what I've done. I'm going to play you each of the versions that I have. And then I'm going to take that one little piece and string them all together so you can hear your differences. Make your own judgments. Now, if you've already got all these different versions of Kind of Blue, do you need to buy another one on blue vinyl? I will say one thing, if you don't have a speed corrected version, this version is going to sound great because Analog Productions does it the right way. But you make your own judgment. I just wanted to bring this information to light because I really haven't heard a lot of people talk about it that much on YouTube. So, if you like what you've seen here, give us a like, subscribe to the channel, and come on back for more. We have all sorts of fun talking about music, CDs, records, and all sorts of different types of music. By the way, I have not altered the levels of any of these samples. They are all taken straight off of my audio equipment. All the CD versions are the same, and all the LP versions are played the same as well. So, no playing around with the levels. These are compared apples for apples. Here we go. Here's the Super Audio CD version from 1997. Here's the Columbia Jazz Masterpieces version. First version to be put out on CD. This is the 1993 Master Sound version, the first version that had the corrected speed. Here's a 1967 stereo release on vinyl. Here's a mono vinyl copy that was released in 2013 as part of Record Store Day and was numbered. And finally, the 2020 Analog Productions ultra high quality record at 33 RPM in stereo. And here they all are, smashed together. And that's all. I want to thank you again for stopping by and checking out this little exercise. Whether it was important or not to you, I thought it was important to be addressed. So, once again, thank you so much. By the way, Saturday nights, 10 p.m. Eastern, I usually do a 1 hour live stream where we talk about music, records, CDs, the usual stuff. So, have a great day. I had a great time. I hope you did too. And go listen to some music. How about Kinda Blue?